At first glance, Cuphead seems like the result of a weekend-long glue sniffing session. Two guys with cups for heads decide to go gambling at the Devil's Casino, only to get ripped off and then forced to kill dozens of bosses taken straight out of an acid trip, all because the devil threatened to break their kneecaps. Because Cuphead is an old-fashioned run-and-gun side-scroller, the story isn't really that important. I mean, you don't watch porn and expect it to be written by Aaron Sorkin. But everything else is definitely worth seeing at least once because it is absolutely stunning. Side-scrollers aren't exactly going to set the world alight with mind-blowing graphics, so developers really need to get creative in order to stand out. And what Studio MDHR have done here is nothing short of brilliant. They took inspiration from 1930s cartoons, minus all the racist undertones, and replicated that unique art aesthetic for Cuphead. And the result is nothing like you've ever seen before in a video game. Everything looks like it could have been taken out of a vintage Disney cartoon, even right down to how Cuphead was developed. Each character and level was painstakingly hand-drawn and painted before being animated, and the background orchestral music was even recorded using audio techniques of that era. So, unsurprisingly, this meant that Cuphead took a long time to make, 7 years to be exact. And when you consider that this was Studio MDHR's first ever game, it is amazing that this even managed to reach the finish line. They certainly didn't spend a big chunk of that time on the story, that's for sure. But it does show that you don't need a big budget or cutting-edge graphics to make one of the most uniquely beautiful games in recent memory. Now, complexity isn't a word you normally associate with side-scrollers, since all you really do is point, shoot, and dodge. This is no different, but Cuphead is one of the best designed and smartest side-scrollers I've ever played, which is kind of weird to say considering you play as a character with a cup for a head. Now at this point I should say this. Yes, it's hard. Really hard. Why am I so useless? Oh, for sake. For the love of... God damn it. But I feel like all this noise about Cuphead's eye-gouging difficulty has overshadowed just how well designed and balanced it actually is. Each boss has its own idiosyncrasies, so every battle is a challenge, but not so much that it is impossible. But it is definitely hard enough that I can't look at the camera while playing at the same time. You do have unlimited lives, so you can keep going without losing progress until you finally win. Or when you finally lose your shit, which is almost a guarantee. With 6 different types of attacks, abilities, and a handful of super techniques, Cuphead actually rewards trialing and erroring through each battle. So the game actually has more in common with puzzle games than what it looks like on the surface. If you are as incompetent as I am, then each boss battle will take literally up to an hour. But in reality, it takes no longer than 2 or 3 minutes to win each fight, so not too long, but not too short either. Throw in a handful of run and gun levels to change things up, and what you have is a surprisingly well balanced game. So you do get a lot of bang for your buck, provided that you're an absolute moron at side-scrollers, which I am. But Cuphead has one thing going for it that sets it apart from anything else released in recent memory. Hard-earned accomplishment. You can't cheese your way through this game, and there is a high possibility that you'll want to open up a vein after dying 43 times fighting the same boss. But once you finally win each fight, victory tastes so much sweeter because you actually had to earn it the hard way. At a time when we have players skipping battles and abusing glitches like Harvey Weinstein on the female acting population, it's kind of nice to have a game like Cuphead show us once again what it's like to really work for it. Many people have been calling Cuphead the new Dark Souls, but that is just a lazy comparison, and it does a disservice to how unique and well made Cuphead is in its own right. It looks and plays old, yet it is about as well designed and stylish as any big budget game out there. You will get frustrated while playing Cuphead. You may even start spiraling into existential despair over how rubbish you are at video games, but you can't deny that it has made a strong case as one of 2017's finest.